Historically, multinationals innovated in rich countries like the US and sold those products in poor countries like India. Reverse innovation is doing exactly the opposite. It's about innovating in a poor country like India and selling those products in a rich country like the US. This may appear completely counterintuitive because if you think about it, it's perfectly logical to see why a poor man would want a rich man's product. Rich man is driving a car, poor man wants a car. Rich man has a cell phone, poor man wants a cell phone. But it is not that logical to see why a rich man would want a poor man's product. That's the essence of reverse innovation. I contend this is going to be probably the most significant growth opportunity for American corporations going forward. Why so? Reverse innovation has two components. First, you can't simply export to poor countries or developing economies. You have to innovate there. That's step one. Step two is take those innovations and really bring them to rich countries. Why is this going to be a significant phenomenon? Let's look at some facts. What this block tells you is there are about 5.5 billion people in the so-called developing economies. That tells me developing economies are bulk of the consuming base. The total size of these economies, the GDP of poor countries, is about $30 trillion. Even if you apply a modest growth rate of 5%, you do the math. 5% on 30 trillion is $1.5 trillion of incremental growth. That's $1,500 billion of incremental growth. Developing economies are huge. They have massive consumption base. But that still doesn't tell you why do you need to innovate there. And we understand why you need to innovate if you look at another statistics, which is what I have got here is GDP per capita. When you look at the GDP per capita, think about India. The GDP per capita in India is about $3,000. The GDP per capita in the US is about $50,000. There is no business model you created for middle America, where the mass market per capita income is $50,000. You can go and try to capture middle India, where the mass market per capita income is $3,000. You have to innovate. What is happening is, you can imagine it this way. In a rich country, there is one person with $1,000 to spend. In a poor country, there are 1,000 people. Each have $1 to spend. The total consumption is the same, but the fundamental difference is in the demand structure. Let's take an example of how reverse innovation works. This is General Electric in their healthcare business. In their healthcare business, GE makes products like CAT scanner, MR machines, ultrasounds, X-ray machines, and this one, which is an electrocardiogram, an ECG machine. This machine probably costs about $25,000. And this comes with a very sophisticated custom printer because you got to print the ECG. That costs another $25,000. This is a $50,000 machine. Extremely powerful machine. It has saved millions of lives. Now, GE used to sell this machine in India. Certainly, there is 10% of hospitals in India who could afford to buy this $50,000 equipment. But the question is, what about the remaining 90% of India? Remaining 90% of India is in rural India. They can't afford this $50,000 price tag. Not only that, in rural India, there are no hospitals. That means the patient cannot go to the hospital. The hospital has to come to the patient. That means you got to take this machine and go door to door in rural India. This machine weighs 200 pounds. Nearly impossible. Put it on your backpack and go door to door. But even if you manage somehow to take this machine in a bus or something to the village, this machine operates in house current. In rural India, electricity is either unavailable or unreliable. But even if you manage to find electricity, this machine is a very, very sophisticated machine, has to be operated by a very trained doctor. In fact, this machine comes with a 500-page user's manual. In rural India, there are no doctors. But my point is, still 90% of Indians also have heart attack. We need to somehow find a solution. A couple of years ago, GE innovated a $500 ECG machine, which is called Mac India. Contrast $500 versus $50,000. In fact, in my way of thinking, if you want to unlock urban India, you better have a 10% solution. If you want to unlock rural India, you better have a 1% solution. That means if a product costs $100 in the US, it better cost $10 in urban India. It better cost $1 in rural India. Not only that, this Mac India, the $500 machine, is extremely portable. In fact, it weighs less than a can of Coca-Cola. So I can put it in my backpack and go door to door. Further, this machine operates on battery, which is extremely critical in rural India. And this machine is extremely easy to operate. Probably you can't quite see it. This machine only has 2 buttons. There is a green button, and then there is a red button. You press the green button, it works. If you press the red button, it stops. As long as you know how to read traffic signs, you should be able to operate this machine. My point is, this is creating a whole new exciting market in India. But the real bonus is this machine is now currently being sold in 150 countries, including transforming healthcare in the richest country in the world, the United States of America. Now, how is it creating growth in the US? Imagine there is an accident on a highway, and an ambulance is going there. You can't put the $50,000 machine inside that ambulance. But I can put a pocket size, an iPod size, $500 equipment into the ambulance. And also imagine a crowded place in a hospital. For instance, the operating room. It's got the patient, the surgeon, the nurses, equipment, etc. You can't wheel in a $50,000 equipment into the operating room. But I can bring this $500 ECG machine. Such examples are plenty. In fact, the previous speaker talked about how pathetic the healthcare system in the US is. Take, for instance, some of the revolutions that are taking place in India. There is a hospital in India called Arvind Eye Care, which does cataract surgery for $30, what probably costs $3,000 and upwards in the US. There is another hospital called NH Hospital, which is doing open heart surgery, open heart surgery for $2,000, what might cost well over $100,000 in the US. Now, this cost difference cannot be explained simply by labor cost differences between the 2 countries. This is about breakthrough innovation.